Welcome back to another episode of Just Jossin Around. I have two guests today. I've got Brent Bradley, otherwise known as Brent Bradley, and Don Seager. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I love this.
Happy to be here. This is exciting.
This is exciting.
I've never recorded a podcast in such a real place before. It's usually some
taking an elevator
basement.
Yeah.
It's always a basement, but you know what? There's always a refreshment. The only thing here is there's less beer.
I've done it at the Funny Bone. That was super fun.
Door Guys
That's
podcast.
true. Yeah,
Are they still doing that?
No.
Okay.
It's sad. And that was such a fun podcast too.
I bet it seemed like a good time. Right now, the only podcast that I know of that's doing cool locations is Omaha. Tony Bach.
Oh yeah, because he's just everywhere. He'll do a podcast. Does he record just?
I ran into him, and I mean, this guy, he turns out podcasts like every day with someone new. I actually ran into him and Tyler Walsh yesterday at Sozo's. I was working on my laptop, and I look up, and Tyler is flipping me off across the room, and but they had just recorded down there. Sozo's is a Christian coffee shop.
I've done comedy there. Surprisingly.
Have you?
Yeah.
How does that work?
I'm not a
What do you
dirty
even talk about?
I'm not a dirty comic. Like really. For crowd work, yes.
Okay.
But like my written material is just family stuff that.
Sure.
So
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sure, we're just not used to hearing your written material.
yeah. Because it's so boring. That's why I do crowd work. I get bored with it. But no, I do think I said fuck there though.
No.
Yeah.
In the Lord's house?
Yeah.
In the Lord's coffee house?
It was for a show that we split the door money, so I got $4.25.
Stop. That's crazy.
It was, yeah.
I love the fact they broke it down and gave you a quarter. That's my favorite part.
That's how you know they were being honest.
I kept trying to say like, I don't need paid. Stop trying to look for change. But no.
Yeah. Did you take that right out of the collection plate? Put it back.
That's how I've somehow received less for a show. I got $3. This is no shade to Will Doherty, but I got $3 from Will Doherty Loves Company. And I was like, what's the point, man?
Yeah, just look at you and be like, hey, the door didn't come out the way we wanted it to.
Yes.
So
Yes.
crisp high five.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad you guys are here today. You guys do a bunch of stuff in the scene, but I do want to start off. Here's the thing. I'm going in. I have no context except for the fights that I saw break out on social media. But
So you need this. You need the backstory.
I need the backstory on, first of all, why people thought you were dead, specifically Don Seager.
Because they're morons.
Yes. I mean, to be honest, I remember logging on to Facebook and seeing and thought like, oh, it happened. Like he did die. And then.
So what stopped you from like posting a like R.I.P. Don, all that?
I think I just saw a little too much of Justin Healy, and I was like, in the comments, I was like, there's no way. And for those, I'm not even going to provide context of Justin Healy, but yeah, why did that happen? Also, how did the bit make it all the way to the Omaha Entertainment Awards?
This is like a full year recap is what this is, because this has been at least 8 months.
Well, we get crap for looking similar.
No, that's why I brought you here, because I wanted those watching to constantly be confused.
Yeah, you do have to have the if you couldn't see us, it wouldn't make as much sense. For sure.
And I don't know what Brent sees when he looks at me, but when I look at him, I see like it's a sad fat mirror image of myself.
You think he's sad? I think he's happy.
No, he's
not inside.
Look at his eyes.
Look at that smile though. He's smiling.
Yeah, this has got me on a lot of jams.
But no, we have a group chat with a bunch of showrunners and stuff, and Rachel was like, you should change your guys' profile pictures
to each other's,
because in our group chat we're both on the Funny Bone stage, so it's the same background, almost the same shot.
Yes.
So that's all we did.
That is very funny. Yeah.
That's all we did, and she put R.I.P. on both.
So this started from Rachel Ware. She started the R.I.P.
She did not. She did, but she posted it on both of the changes. Okay. So it wasn't just like she put it on.
So she went on Don's and posted it under the picture of me. And then she went on mine and posted it under the picture of Don, right? Just as any solid comedian would do, right?
And then everybody freaked out that I died and no one cared about Brent.
Nobody cared at all.
And all you had to do is look at my profile and go, oh, well, he just changed his profile picture 5 minutes ago to Brent.
Weren't you on vacation too? Like actively posting vacation updates?
No. No, I was at work when everything started going down, and I was selling a gun, so I don't mess with my phone when I'm selling fire. Like
That's insane.
Yeah, so like my phone's just going off. I can see stuff on my watch. My aunt starts messaging me. She's like, "Why are people saying that you're dead?"
Time out. We don't want the audience to think you're cooler than you are. He does not work at a gun shop. He works at Walmart. Right? He was selling a gun at Walmart. We don't want. Yeah. Now rumors are gonna. We don't want those rumors starting that you own a gun store.
No, I think most people
Brent, you
know
are so messy.
Brent works from home.
So do I sometimes.
Yeah.
But I also host musical bingo. Rock on.
Oh, yeah, I knew it was going to get brought up.
It always will be. Anyways,
we need that and psychosis, and then
it's like that's my trifecta. That's
trifecta.
I saw this Nate Bargatze clip where he was like, people only have like 3 stories, and they constantly retell them. For me, it's music bingo, psychosis, and then I don't know. Sometimes they talk about being lesbian, but anyways.
But only recently. Anyway,
but yeah, people like were just losing their mind over it, and I mean. Once I was done selling a gun, I was like, "Oh, it's kind of funny." I left my aunt just hanging there for a while.
That's crazy.
Until she called my wife, who then called me, and I'm like, "Gotta answer that call." And I'm like, "No, I'm alive. I go, "It's a joke that got out of hand." She's like, "Oh, your aunt is pissed."
Yeah.
Like, I don't care. She can be pissed.
It's crazy to me how fast it blew up out of hand, and also like. The fact that no cursory research was done at all. Let's just run with it. Like that's the perfect example. That's almost the perfect example of how easy it is to like start things on Facebook.
And as much as people hate me, they sure were sad that I was gone.
I would argue that they were more upset after they found out it was a joke, and they were upset that you were still alive.
100%.
Well, all I just saw a lot of people mad. It was I think I came in after where people were finding out, and people were like mad, like why would you joke about this? But also I just felt it was so absurd.
I was getting so much heat. I was getting so much heat for no reason. I was like, oh no.
I changed my Facebook profile and then got busy at work, and I was the bad guy.
Yeah. It was really funny, but ultimately for me, what I think Seal did was at the OEA,
Omaha Entertainment.
What's the
Omaha Arts and Entertainment Awards?
Yes, there it is. At that show, it being
what was it?
It was in the in memoriam, right? So
they put it in the in memoriam.
It was in the in memoriam.
Oh my god! I did not know that.
Super sad Sarah McLachlan music playing, right? All these people that have died on the screen, and then my picture pops up
with my name,
Don's name. And there's a video of it, and
smattering.
Maybe we can send it in, and I can get it in because you can audibly hear one of the ladies who like had no idea it was there. You can audibly hear her go. And like try to stifle her laugh, and a few others, and people. They were like, you could actively see people like glaring at us because everybody thought obviously he was dead.
I wasn't there.
Crazy.
Or I was dead. I guess technically. Is my picture.
I don't know.
That is why I did not know. I saw that. I did not know it was during the in memoriam section of the event. Yeah. I thought it was like you were getting some during like an award or something. Well, that is insane. How did that happen?
So I actually asked because I know one of the board members. So I was like, "Hey, how did this happen?" And she said that because they posted about it on Facebook, like we're looking to do an in memoriam, and a bunch of people tagged me into that, and I was like, I just won't correct that, whatever. You know, there's no way that it'll go through, and they had to have. She said they would have reached out to someone else in the scene to like, hey, did he actually die?
Yeah.
Which they then confirmed, yes, he did die.
Oh my. And
then they do a review of it, and she's the only one on the entire board that knows the comics. Yeah. So she wasn't there that day.
Wow, what are the odds?
Yeah, it's just like this crazy series of events to get it through there. And I mean, I didn't.
Also, do better, OEAs.
Yeah, exactly.
She's the only one that knows any of the comics.
Right.
Yeah.
And you have all these awards for comics.
Yes.
And then you wonder why people get mad when awards are announced and they're like, well, we don't feel that. It's like, hey, maybe pay attention to the groups that are in the organization, or just don't include us. Like,
exactly. Yeah, make it a separate thing with people that are actively watching or paying attention.
Well, the only good thing is I guess when it happened and like then they figured it out. Like she's there and she knows me. She's like, he does not care. Like,
yeah, no, you're like, we're not worried about
not
Don's
upset
feelings
about that. You know?
No. It's more about I wondered if it was going to blow back up.
Yeah.
I wondered if it was going to resurge back in the Facebook group. My wife joined the Omaha comedy scene Facebook page when it was going on just so she could keep up on drama, and it does not disappoint.
No.
And she tells me when drama's happening now before I even see it.
I unfollowed that just because I don't.
You unfollowed the Omaha comedy scene page.
Well, I'm still in it.
But you're not.
I just don't want it in my feed.
I get it.
There's too many terrible comics that want to start fights over things that don't matter. And I get drawn into it because anytime someone's like, there's not enough females on a show, I feel personally attacked. And I'm like, what show? What are you talking about? Name names. Don't lump us all together because I feel like I put on a pretty decent show. And, you know.
Has that been a thing? I don't really pay attention. I like pick and choose. And if I ever do see drama, I'm jokingly antagonizing it by being like, say their name.
Right.
But I also feel like if you're going to call it out on Facebook, say the name.
Yeah.
You're clearly bothered enough to say something about it, but nothing's going to get fixed if you don't say the name. Because either that person is going to prove that you're wrong, or they're going to eat that shit and you're going to be proven right.
And all it is the people who are not funny and not getting booked on shows, and they're getting mad because of that. That's all it is. They're like, well, I'm a female and I'm not getting booked on a show, so this is a problem. Like, well, no, you're not funny. That's why. Like, you don't hear Carmela's getting booked on shows. There's
no, I think we should bring back bullying. I think we should bully. That's one thing that I'm trying to advocate for. I think we would have less problems if we just bullied people.
But then, are you only allowed to bully certain people?
Exactly.
Right.
Oh wow.
I think it works though.
Because there's people in every group of people that are unfunny, and so if you can't bully all the unfunny people at the same time, then we shouldn't bring back bullying because that's going to get confusing.
I know there's people get warned about me and that I'm an asshole, which is true. And I appreciate that most of the time. But like Tyrell has one of the greatest stories that I don't remember. I don't remember.
About you?
I remember.
And he told me this. I'm like, I don't think that. And so I think Rachel was like, no, you 100% said that to him. I was standing there. But he came up, I don't know, it was like his third mic or something like that. And he's like, hi, my name's Tyrell. And I just go, tell me that in 6 months. And I walked away.
Wow.
But he said it pissed him off. But it pissed him off to keep coming back. He's like, no, I'm going to be here in 6 months. And then, 6 months later, whatever. Like, he's a good friend of mine now. Like, I love him to death. And he's like, now that he's been doing it, couple years,
3 years now. Actually,
like
probably closer to 3 now.
Yeah. He's like, I understand exactly why you do that. Like,
sure,
because people don't stick around.
They don't.
We just get a bunch of people in, and I'm like, I don't want to spend time getting to know you, and then you leave. Like,
it's interesting to see it because now I'm like, I still identify as I feel like a newer comic, but there's like comics that are like brand new, like couple months in, and you lose track because there's so many, and then I feel like I'm out of the loop. I don't know anyone, but I
feel like all new people kind of start there. Like, I think that the general way a comic comes in is you come in, you think you're funny, and most of the time, even if you're not, you don't realize it, right? And then you bitch about not being booked on shows, blah blah blah, and then you start to understand, oh, I got to fix these things. You start to get booked on shows, and then you start feeling bad about yourself because you're like, oh, that was a real audience that didn't laugh as much.
Get the imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome kicks in, and then you're like, oh, I'm starting to figure this out, and then you tank again. You're like, oh, fuck, everything about me sucks.
Sure.
But it's hard to explain that to people, especially in a scene this size, when everybody really does kind of see everybody, right? It's not like Denver or something where there's enough mics you can go to. You don't know some people. And it's like, people don't usually respond to criticism well. And if I'm telling you that a joke you're doing I don't think is funny, I'm not saying you can't be funny. I'm saying the way that I'm hearing that personally, I'm not finding it funny.
Yeah.
But it makes it hard. Like, it's hard to tell somebody that, and then they get mad, and then it's like, oh, you're a hater. And it's like, well, I don't know how to give you good constructive feedback if I can't say that. So you don't say anything at all.
Yeah.
But then like that it takes that much longer for your cycle to break, where you're like, oh, I do know everything as a newer person, and then you're like, oh fuck, I don't know anything.
Well, but that's
hard.
the same cycle for everyone, but it's the people that are going to actually stay in the cycle, like, hey, I'm going to stick with it. Like, if people are getting handed stuff like, oh, I would do this joke this way by every comic, now they're not writing their own material. They're just, hey, everyone's filled in their punchlines for them. They go to the mic weekly, do a shitty setup, someone comes up like, oh, do this, they're not learning anything.
Sorry, I'm laughing because this is just a podcast update. We have a new whiteboard in the studio. Ooh. So instead of me...
we're 15 minutes in?
That means we're 15 minutes in.
Oh, what's the time? How long do we go?
You do not listen, it's an hour.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but
Sometimes
typically you edit stuff, so I wasn't sure if And
I'll say it for Jossin.
And I will
Thank
edit.
you, Grace. That was very nice of you.
You're very welcome.
No, you're right. We do edit stuff, and I will be editing out everything Dawn says.
When does Grace get her episode?
Grace is... me and Grace have a podcast together.
Yeah, I want... when does Grace get a full episode?
Grace, would you like to be on Just Jossin Around?
I feel like... like the audience wants it.
Honestly, I would actually love to have Grace on an episode because I'd love to recap her thoughts and opinions about the scene, comics. I'd like to
from the outside perspective.
Yeah, from the outside watching, because I bring in these bozos off the street and I'm just kidding. No, not in this episode. You guys are bozos.
Well,
no, I'm just kidding. No, everyone, I love both of you.
It's actually the nicest thing anyone's ever said about me.
Actually, it's the nicest thing she said about me, and I feel uncomfortable
Brent,
about it, is what I think.
I'm so nice about you. I have not. Have I been mean? Have I ever been mean? I know. I don't even want to.
Well, have I been mean to you?
I don't think so.
Well, because I am mean all the time. But we're joking mean, so it's different. Right? Like, yeah.
I can't remember the last actually.
I don't think I've ever walked up to you and was like, oh, it's so good to see you. It's usually just something shitty or mean.
Is it?
But that's my love language.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm nice to you, I don't probably like you at all.
I think that's most comics' love language is sarcasm.
Because every once in a while, I remember one time in the green room, I walked in and I was just shitting on you so hard for no reason, and not like you so, but just fucking with you constantly.
Yeah.
And then I stopped and I was like, hey, I'm just fucking around, right? And you're like, yeah, it would be weirder if you were nice. And I was like, yeah, because I do.
You had to apologize for. That's not cool.
Well, sometimes I want... Well, because not everybody...
Now the bit's
nobody
broken.
just knows me. I'm just like, oh, fuck, what if they think I'm being serious?
No one's going to get to know you. You're moving in a year. So.
Are you moving?
Yeah,
where are you going?
We're going back to Austin.
A lot of people are.
Get back to my daughter.
He's literally becoming Joe Rogan, so he can just slip in and take over.
That's how Rogan last year goes,
I was like, whoa, that's crazy. That's crazy.
I'm excited to get back to Austin.
Yeah.
My daughter lives down there and she's 9.
I'm excited.
You're excited for me to not be
You
here.
said leave.
Yeah. Yes. But it may be as soon as July.
That's crazy.
July or August. So.
Wow, big moves. I'm moving to Omaha end of May.
Ooh, that's
coming
exciting.
back. Thank God. Yeah, I need to because
Omaha's great.
Omaha is great, and I spend all my time here. I mean, I work here. I fucking do everything, and then
compared to Lincoln, Omaha's great.
I mean, yeah, I'm just getting so depressed because I go back home and I'm like, there's nothing.
Yeah. Everything you do is in Omaha.
Is here.
So it's like, why am I driving 45 minutes every day?
Yeah. I'm
an hour and a half, technically.
Yeah, it's a lot, but I'm excited.
Oh, no, I was talking about Lincoln is full of young people and Joslin's starting to get kind of old.
No, stop. I'm 22.
Yeah,
I'm 22.
Yeah,
you're
you're aging out of Lincoln.
Is that? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
God,
yeah, I mean, that is a college town, though. I guess if you think of it that way, being a college town, now that you're out of college and you're not really like that, I'm going to get drunk every fucking night and party this. That's the only thing to do in Lincoln to me.
Yeah, no, it's just bars.
Whereas at least in Omaha,
there's things.
We have mini golf.
Yeah. Wholesome activity.
You can go to the fucking zoo, right?
Exactly.
They got adult night at the zoo. No. Get drunk at the zoo.
Exactly.
I hate
get high at the zoo.
Why would I go look at animals? I can just go out into the woods and look at animals. I don't need to.
No.
Oh yeah. Go out in the woods and look at fucking zebra dawn.
Exactly.
You're going
to go see a penguin.
You're going to animal jail. It's sad.
It's okay. The penguins are happy. I don't know about the rest of them, but I do watch the penguins.
You seem like you would watch the penguins.
I do. I like a good cup of coffee. You'd be early in the day.
No, I feel like you'd be relating, man, if I could just get in the water and just kind of flap my arms around and dive off, that would make me feel all good right now.
I want to belly slide down an ice luge into a water. That sounds terrible.
I think that can happen for you.
You could.
You have the belly. So
I have the belly for sure.
Damn.
Dude, Tyler Walsh weighs less than me, and I'm like, fuck.
I mean, oh my God. I've never seen.
This is the best thing ever.
It's even as a woman, I'm motivated by Tyler Walsh because I'm like,
Dude.
I've never seen someone drop weight that like
It's a lot of weight.
His jawline just keeps getting sharper and sharper.
When I ran into him yesterday, I mean he's just lanky and
It's almost too much weight. If
I
we're
know,
being
I'm like,
honest.
can you just come on now?
Yeah, we were just talking about that the other day. He's lost so much weight that he's like, I feel like I've lost some muscle. I was like, the nice thing though is
100%.
it's your muscle will bounce back so fast.
Yeah.
Once you start working out again.
Yep.
Like that's not an issue as long as you work out again.
Yeah.
if you never do.
But also, I hear through the grapevine his insane workout routines. I mean, talking like putting like a weighted vest on and running X amount of miles or whatever.
Last year, I want to say he golfed like every day.
Yeah.
He walks. That's all he does.
Yeah.
He walks the course. That's how he lost like 50 pounds just walking,
Right.
carrying his clubs and stuff.
Well, they
It's
did that
crazy.
with Honey Boo Boo's mom. She like was losing weight while they were recording the show because she had to keep getting up and doing
Stop,
stuff.
really?
100%. It
That's
was
crazy.
her weight loss secret. It was like, I have to get up off the couch.
That's wild.
But yeah, man, it's true. I work from home. Like I get it. I sit in a
know.
chair all day.
Yeah.
And like snack and it's hard not to.
It's really hard. I feel the same way. I think that's why I'm excited to move downtown again, is because it's like you're downtown, like you're gonna be walking to the old market. Like I think it'll be great.
If I lived downtown, I'd still drive to the open mic because I'm lazy as fuck.
I'll just take my moped.
Yeah,
I did see you pull up in the moped.
I think sick, isn't it?
I mean, when did that happen?
Oh, I've had
I was
that.
alarmed.
I brought I have two actually, but I brought I think the red one. I've had that one for like 4
weird
years.
flex.
Do you come all the way from, because you live in Council Bluffs?
Oh yeah, I drive illegally over the interstate on a moped that can do 35 miles an hour on a flat surface.
That's crazy.
Because I'm born and raised in Council Bluffs. I'm like, nobody's going to hit me, and nobody has yet.
That's because you got that glare like me. It comes off your head. It's like,
No, I got a helmet on because I have wrecked on that
that's
thing. and
true.
it's not
That's
good.
true.
I broke my shoulder and my
I
elbow.
remember that.
Wow.
And I wrecked my, like so someone like merged into the lane I was in on a turn.
Yeah.
So I had to get over and I got in the gravel and loose and it just went out from under me. And then I had my helmet on because I hit my head on the curb. And I remember going, ooh, that would have been a concussion as I was rolling.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, that's not good.
You should always wear a helmet.
100%.
I mean, congrats. I honestly did not know. I did not know that thing could only get up to 30.
Yeah, that one. I got now the black one can get up to like 43.
You have multiple mopeds.
Yeah, I have two mopeds.
He took the governor off his black one.
Yeah, but that one only has front brakes because I haven't got the back brakes fixed, so that's scary. I've wrecked on that thing multiple times when it's like wet.
That's such a funny. Okay.
Yeah. Anyone wants to ride my moped and I'm at the back line,
And
just
he
let me know.
doesn't mean that in an inappropriate way.
No, like, yeah. Like Cameron saw me pull up on it. He's like, can I take that thing for a spin? I'm like, hell yeah, dude. Here's a
It's so
helmet.
fun. When I was in high school, I was from a town of like 1,200 people, and we had like a little moped gang in town. Like there was like 15 of us with mopeds, and we just fucking ride around town being idiots.
Yeah, they're so fun.
Yeah.
You know that was a Midwest thing. I don't know. I'm out of the loop. Everyone's got a
I think it's
moped.
It's a poor people thing.
small town, poor people, small town.
I thought everyone did like the what is it, like the 4x4 or the what are those things called?
Yeah, those cost money. You're right. Poor people thing is right. Yeah, razors, like the side by sides. Yeah.
Side by side. Yeah. Not even a side or a four wheeler.
Four wheeler. That's still no. There's a lot of.
That's a couple grand.
So a four wheeler is something that white trash people save up for, right?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's a planned
so funny.
purchase.
That's so.
But
funny.
a moped is like an impulse buy. Like, man, we can really use this.
Yeah. You mean I could get to the bar without driving my car?
We're gonna save so much gas money.
That's really funny, actually.
Heading to the bar.
I didn't know this context.
I drive like when it's the summertime because I do poker at third base and comedy and whatever and at Ditmars. I'm scooter all the time if it's not raining. As long as it's not raining, I moped it all over the place.
I kind of want a moped now.
It's great.
Fun.
No, that does sound cool.
And if you're downtown, that'd be the perfect spot to have one.
So fun.
Yeah, until you get on a hill and you're like, well, this is a nightmare.
This sucks.
It's honestly, it's not that bad coming over. Like going over the interstate is a little nerve wracking, but once you're in downtown Omaha, it's not that bad.
Yeah, because at 35, you're going the same.
I'm going like slightly slower uphill
than
and you know, people are just impressed with the mopeds.
So like it's fine. We'll let it go.
I will say though, like I have a Spark too, a 2017 Chevy Spark.
Holy
right?
hell.
I love it to death.
I love my Spark.
That car pisses people off more than anything. Like, people will cut me off. They'll go around.
Yeah,
all that crap.
yeah.
On the moped, I have people get behind me and put their hazards on if I'm going slow. Like, I'm like, they're being so nice.
Yeah.
Well, and you got that helmet on that makes you look like a weird Power Ranger. And so they're like, oh man, he's special. We gotta protect this guy.
And I got a new helmet, and I made sure it was still red and looked kind of Power Ranger-ish.
That's really funny. Okay. Well, now I want a moped, but honestly, you brought it up. The Chevy Spark hate on the road is real, especially in bad weather conditions. That I actually have a funny story. I was driving to Omaha on Christmas Eve, and it was not Christmas Eve, Christmas Day.
Right?
Yes. And so the roads were really bad. I was going super slow.
It does really well in the snow.
It does okay, but I am scared. And so I was like white knuckling, like I was, up, and this truck is on my ass and then like pulls up next to me, and then they just speed past me. But I was all the way in the slow lane. Come to find out, a month later, I don't know if you guys are familiar. Do you guys know James Lindsay, comedian? It was him. And he was like, I pulled up. He was like, I was so mad. And then I looked over and I just saw you about to cry, like driving. And I'm like, yeah, maybe just be nice on the road. I don't understand.
I feel like the Chevy Spark is not helping any part of psychosis.
There it is. We brought it up.
I know I had to bring it up.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I feel like it might help. It might have been a triggering agent.
It could have been. I remember the first time I had psychosis. My dad was like, "You have to go to the hospital."
It's been multiple times.
It's been multiple times.
Twice, right?
Twice. Yes, but for extended.
Confirmed 2 times.
Okay, so we're in it now. So I'm going to start asking questions. When you say psychosis, what do you specifically mean?
I've listened to her talk about this, and when it was first brought up, like,
yes,
I was like, I'm going to go look it up, and I was like, no, wait, I'll just let Joslyne explain it, and I still have no clue what it is.
Psychosis manifests different in a lot of people. For me, I get a messiah complex where I think I am like the second coming of Jesus Christ, and I've thought that twice. And you're laughing, but I was fully convinced. That's what I'm saying. The thing is like you.
Stop, Don.
No, because I'm telling you, when you're in psychosis, it's like you are. You're full blown schizophrenic.
How do you know God wasn't speaking directly to you?
And I thought he was. I literally I was hearing voices. I thought he was.
As an atheist, I'm trying to figure out how you didn't know.
I was a paramedic for a long time, so I dealt with this. So when I always want to ask people when I hear about mental stuff, I'm like, "Oh, what does it mean to you?"
Yeah,
'cause it means something different to everybody, right? And that's okay. That
so
makes
for
sense.
me, it was a lot of like my brain I was seeing like signs. So like I would see I would look at a billboard and like the words and like going back, like, okay, a prime example. I was at the Rockies game with Jake Parker and Ross, and they have the huge fucking, what is that called? The board where they can
scoreboard.
Yeah, the
scoreboard.
Scoreboard, jumbotron.
You were literally missing one word.
Yeah, the scoreboard. And I was like hallucinating like messages and stuff on the board that were not there. And that kept happening
to everybody else that wasn't Jesus.
That's what I'm saying. So to me, no, it's easy to it's like I can look at it now and be like, Joslin's so silly. Like, how did you blah, blah, blah. But I remember in that time, like, it was just so intense. I was hearing voices. I was seeing things. I was watching Seinfeld, hallucinating Seinfeld that they were talking to me. So I'm losing my mind. And then, the spark really didn't do anything. But there was a time where I had to drive to the hospital, and I just remember like having the realization of I should not be driving right now.
Can I tell you my memory of your
Did you
psychosis?
see me in psychosis?
So no, but you were booked on one of my shows.
Oh my God, I remember this actually. Yeah, keep going.
And I think you deleted Facebook or something like that. She backed out of all her shows, deleted Facebook, but left Messenger. So I was like, okay. And I was like, I think I reached out to Lauren.
Yes,
I was like,
my secretary.
I'm like, hey, is Joslyne okay? Because I have her booked. I just want to make sure. I don't, if she can't come, it's fine. And then you responded. You're like, I'm fine. Is all you responded.
Was not fine.
And then like a day later, you deleted your Facebook Messenger. So I was like, now I have no communication with you. And I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So I just booked someone else. I was like, whatever. And then
I approached you and I said, why the fuck?
I think it was right after you'd probably gotten out of the hospital, I think.
And I was like, hey, are we still good?
No, that's not how you were. You came back too early because you came back just to watch a show and not participate in the mic.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And because I come in, everyone's like, oh, Joslyne's here. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And like, you looked real healthy at that point, like super healthy to be out and about. There's a lot of sarcasm coming out. Like
I looked
like
bad.
Your hair was bad. Like you were. It was not.
God, asshole.
And then
Jesus Christ. This reminds me when I was like in psychosis. I showed up to somewhere. I had no makeup on. I had my hair up, but I still had like an out. Like I was still like
clothes on.
Like, and
you look disheveled.
That's crazy. Anyways,
but you like came up to you and were like, "Hey, what was the date of that show?" And I'm like, "I had to book someone else because I couldn't contact you," and you just went. Okay, and then you walked away, and I'm like, "Fair enough." All right.
I wonder. I don't remember when that was, but there was a.
It was a Dip Mart.
No, I was fine when I went there because Lauren was performing, and I was okay.
But I think it was the backline.
There was
No, it was third base. It was one of my shows.
I remember. I remember I showed up to, this was like, I was inside, this was before I went to the psych ward, but I was like hallucinating really bad. And I went to go see, it was like Lauren's level 4 improv, something like that. And like, I went, I'm hallucinating the whole time. Like, I'm not okay. And I look like shit too. I don't have makeup. I have my like hair. I look fucked up. And Julian comes up to me and goes, "You look really tired." And I was like, fuck you. And then also this is like, at that time, Andy Wolf comes up to me, who is he's like a newer comic, and all he says is, "Do you believe in God?" I literally, I've wanted to ask him about that conversation because I'm like, where did that come from? Like, what made him say that to me? Because I swear to God, that made me spiral. And then I was like, let's sit down. Like, we sat down and we talked, and then I don't really remember the conversation, but I just remember him being like, "Do you believe in God?" And I'm like,
why couldn't he have just came up and just came up and like, "Have you found Jesus?" Like, let me tell you something.
I'm like, it's actually crazy you bring that up right now but psychosis was crazy. It took me a while to.
Do I believe in my dad? Yeah, I do.
Oh my God, that was another part of my psychosis too. Is I thought my dad was going to be the president. And so I was
hearing about your dad, and I want him to do a Just Jossin around, but he won't.
I know he won't honestly, he probably won't until he's like out of the military.
Hold on, wait. Is it because he doesn't want you interviewing him? So you need to have someone else interview your dad.
It's not even that. I think it's just my dad being in that position. Speaking candidly on like a pod, it's just I don't know.
Bring up the military.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, military's weird though. Take something you say out of context and demote you for no reason.
I think it's too tricky. I would love to have my father on this podcast. Love.
Yeah. On the psychosis note, it was fun from a medic perspective because you never knew when somebody was in psychosis.
That's
you just
crazy.
got a call for a problem.
Yeah.
Right? So like my favorite one, and this eventually I want to do it on stage, but my favorite call from it was we got a call for back pain. This lady had back pain, right? So I drive my ambulance there, I get out and I'm assessing this lady, just a heavier set lady.
Yeah.
And I get her in the back of the ambulance. She's like, and we're on our way. And she goes, "What would the doctor say if I had back pain and I was pregnant?" And I was like, well, he'd probably say, "That makes sense."
Yeah,
I was right. I wish you would have told me that when I was taking your history and I asked if you had any current medical issues. And I was like, "Okay, so are you pregnant?" And she was like, "Yeah." Yeah. And I was like, "Oh, okay, well that makes sense. How do you know you're pregnant? Did you take a pregnancy test?" And she goes, "Yeah, but it was negative." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I was like, "Would you go to the doctor?" And she was like, "Yeah, but they told me I wasn't pregnant either." And I was like, "Okay, well how do you know you're pregnant?" And she goes, "My baby talks to me." And I was like, let's go.
Let's get the Velcro straps for you.
I was immediately like,
can you cross your arms?
Right. Does your baby ever tell you to hurt yourself or other people? And she's like, "Nah."
Look at you. See, you're such a professional.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, all right, cool. Well, let's find out what this baby's about. Yeah. And so I go, well, okay. You know you're pregnant because your baby talks to you. How long have you been pregnant? Yeah. She goes, 2 years. And I was like, God. Oh. I was like, well, are you sexually active? She goes, nope. I was like, you just got a toddler baby Jesus inside you, huh? Is that what's happening?
She just described a haunting is what it is.
She's possessed. And then I was like, well, what kind of things does your baby tell you? And she's like, well, sometimes he'll wake me up at night because he's hungry, and I'm like, oh, bitch, you fat. That's all. I was like, oh, you're just hungry. We all like that. Yeah, we're all hungry, you know. And so, but then I like when we got to the hospital, she was just in she was just in psychosis
for 2 years. You think?
No. That was just
her.
That was just what she thought at that time. Right. I've been pregnant for 2 years. She did go to the doctor.
Yeah.
Because she thought she was pregnant.
Wow.
But she must have never told the doctor that the baby's talking to her. She was just like, I think I'm pregnant.
Yeah, because the doctor would be like, that's crazy. But Brent just got this welcoming face. Like, he really looks like he's trying to help me.
He didn't look annoyed that he was there for a back pain call at all.
Yeah.
You know, like literally on the way to that call, I was like, this fucking Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Call a taxi, bitch. Like, your back hurts? Yeah. So does mine from lifting your fat ass off that chair. Like, fuck.
This is an expensive Uber ride for yourself.
It is.
So many people, that's what they use it for. You know what I mean? They just don't understand, or they don't care, or they don't have insurance, so they don't care. And like the amount of times that's what burns medics out. It's not like, oh, I got tired of seeing all the bad shit. Because like while it bothered me, some of it's cool. Like I enjoy it. That's why I got into the industry. Yeah. But it's just the constant, my knee hurts, my elbow hurts. You're calling me. I had a good call. He called me at 4 a.m. because his knee hurt.
Yeah.
It had been hurting for 4 weeks and nothing had changed. Just not any worse. I was like, why'd you call me now?
Yeah.
At 4 a.m.
That's
like,
insane.
what is wrong with you? And that was the stuff that just chips you down. It makes you real irritated.
I did feel bad. I called the ambulance when I had psychosis, but it was because I thought everyone on Earth had left. So I thought.
So who was gonna drive you?
That would have been immediate like, oh, well, at least that and the medics know.
To be honest, I was like, I thought that they were aliens. I thought that everyone had I was like, it's gonna be. This is how it.
Oh, that's a real. What is that? It's similar to imposter syndrome.
Sure.
Where people they assume that like my loved one looks like them, but it's not them.
Yeah,
it's somebody else. Yeah.
And that skinwalker type thing.
Yeah, but I can't. There's an official term for that because that's a fairly common.
I mean, I feel like I went through it all. I was like, that night it was like it kept like progress as the night was going. I was like kept losing my mind more and more. And I knew it was bad because I was like, I bet I could just ask my landlord to give me the building. Like I had that thought, and then that crossed my mind. I go, okay, this is like, I'm finally having the second thought of, okay, maybe something's wrong. But I feel like I'm constantly remembering like these new details of my psychosis.
I hope you're writing them down.
It's hard to make that funny though. I feel like that's the thing that I struggle with is I want to talk about it.
You'll be able to eventually.
Exactly.
You will 100%. But in the short term, you know the target audience that you need to tell this in front of. Only comics, because we will laugh.
I know, and that's why. And it's fun. I find myself telling these stories to comics, and then being like, "What the fuck?" But it's like, in front of an audience, they're just like, "Shit," like it just doesn't.
For any new comics listening, you tell us like something that's terrible, we will laugh just so you go do it on stage to watch you suffer in silence.
Dude, there was a girl last night, and she's newer, but she did a joke about the Von Mars shooting. And I was just
perfect.
Was that in town?
Yeah, it was at Dub.
When did that happen? No. I meant the Von Mauer shooting.
That was at the mall. It was like 11 people or something.
When was that?
It's been. This was pre-COVID.
Oh, okay. I was like, I'd never heard of it.
But still, it was one of those things where I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't know about that one. And the crowd didn't receive it right. So I feel like it's like you can take it to a dark place, but like you better have a punchline when you get there.
I feel like you only have like a year after a shooting to really make a joke about it and try to connect.
Well, and also it's only going to work even if it does work, only in Omaha. Outside of Omaha, no one's going to have contacts.
I think what you just said is the hardest thing too, because you were like, it's got to have a punchline with it.
Yeah.
But you can't figure that stuff out without doing it on stage.
No, exactly.
Like that's impossible. Like, and that's the struggle. I've got a bunch of dark material I'm trying to work from my medic days that I want to work.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can't work it at Mike's because I don't have enough time to give the context I need to give, so I have to do it on shows.
You know what that forces you to do? To take out the crap that doesn't need to be in there so you can.
Exactly.
Yeah, but a couple of them are literal.
We get
almost
spoiled here with 4 and 5 minute mics.
Yeah.
So we're spoiled in that we can work out stuff like that. There's places where it's
a
minute, 2 minutes.
I'm talking about I'm talking about trying to integrate 3 or 4 stories together to tell a chunk of a story.
You did it at my show when you were there.
I started those. I've got
he didn't even record it. That was the best part. He set his camera up and forgot to hit record.
I was so mad. But I think those because one of them is about a dead baby.
Yeah.
And it's tough to make people laugh about that. But it's like I have to put them in the mentality of, you got to think of this from my perspective and the situation I'm in. Mm-hmm. And so I found that over explaining it has helped, but this darker stuff and just jokes in general, I think we're going to get to this point eventually. So I fucking rip the Band-Aid off now. You're talking about things that, what should be joked about, what shouldn't be and stuff. I think it doesn't matter, because I think one of the conversations we had the other night is people see these really good comedians do tough material, dark material, and they do it well. And they're like, oh, I can fucking do that 1 year in. No, you can't. Mm-hmm. You can't. You're just not a strong enough writer to figure it out.
Right.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
But also, when you do get to the point you're a strong enough writer, those jokes are going to still start poorly.
Yeah.
Right? They're not going to sound good, and they're going to piss people off, and they're going to offend people. But eventually, that joke is going to be funny, and people are going to like it if your joke writing is that good. So then, if every time you hear a dark joke or a joke about a group and you're like, ooh, that was hateful and you need to stop, then it never has the chance to get to the point they're trying to make, which might not be hateful. It's just, I want it to be funny. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, how do you figure out where that line is?
I think
that was very well said.
Yeah, and I think the only problem that I see in our scene is when people do make those jokes out, either they're dark or if they're controversial, it's you put yourself out there, so you got to at least listen to the feedback. And I feel like the people making the jokes don't always want to hear the feedback, and it's I feel like that's something that people could improve on, and especially with newer comics too. It's you think that your stuff's untouchable because you have this sense of I don't know, just,
right. But a lot of those newer comics will eat shit for 2 months of open mics and then be like, I'm not coming back to any of this stuff.
That's what you want.
A lot of them just disappear.
You're going to have your delusionals. There's going to be a few delusionals.
There's some delusionals, and it's hard to see.
And even the delusionals, they're not terrible at comedy. They do have jokes that do work with the crowd that they are in front of. It's not like they're up there eating shit for 15 minutes and just be like, man, I'm doing great.
Yeah.
But I do think you're right that. And I know you said that the other night, where it's if you're going to make a joke about something, you can't expect to not get any feedback. And I think
you should want it.
I do think that's partly true, because
I think it's
I've got my gay daughter. Well, I'm going because you've got your people that their feedback is just fucking stop, and you should never say anything like that again, right? And you just
right.
Okay, then go fuck yourself if you're not really trying to make this
which
work.
Has the opposite effect, because especially me, when my wife knows how to talk to me now. And it's just, hey,
crazy.
No, it is, because
that's a real thing in a marriage.
If she tells me to do something, hey, I need you to do this now, and I'd be like, nah, I'm not gonna But if she's like, hey, you can't get this done in this amount of time, then I'm like, well, yes, I can.
Oh,
and so
right.
so
it's a phrasing thing,
right?
Hey, can you do this as opposed to go do this, right? Is a completely different reaction.
No, I still won't do it if she says can.
That's mine.
She's got to put a limit.
That's mine. Hey, can you go do that for me?
You're going to make a challenge out of it.
You're going to go do it? I'm not moving out of this chair today now. Yeah. And but that's just in general. People in general.
My daughter has severe ADHD, and we're when we were reading and doing all the stuff on it, I'm sitting there going, check with all the stuff. And then I've noticed my wife using some of the tactics we're supposed to be using on her on me.
Oh, that's funny.
And I'm like, hey, don't use the stuff from the book on me. I don't like that.
Oh, hey, I want to back up before I've said if when you say, oh, you just shouldn't do, I wasn't referring to you specifically.
Sure.
I'm going to say you, and it's not referring to anybody in this room. It's just the only way I know how to say it. So a
yeah.
generalization. But I think that's the key, because
what he meant was people in the LGBT community is what he was saying.
I mean, people that are offended by anything, not just that community. I mean, because I have dark jokes that people are like, you shouldn't do that. I got the joke about the dead baby that somebody was like, you can't do that because people have had children that they've lost. And I was like, I had to experience it. I'm going to talk about my experiences.
Right,
I don't.
For sure.
I'm sorry that this one joke might make one person in my lifetime sad that's actually at my show.
Yeah.
But that is what it is, because I have to process this stuff too. But I think my main point is it's hard to tell intent early, especially with a joke.
For sure.
There's my gay daughter joke. I did that for the first time, and it's still fairly close to the same structure it was when I started doing it. And I was told point blank, I would never be allowed back at that mic. I should never do that joke again. It was the most homophobic thing they've ever heard. And I was just told not to come back.
What did
and
the
I was
beat
like,
to that joke? again? Sorry. I know I've heard you do it, but like what are like the beats of it? Like what's like the main point?
The main point of the joke is a guy in Texas, a week after my daughter was born, asked what I would do if she was gay.
Okay, yeah.
And the whole point of the joke is like, not only do I not fucking care if she's gay, I'd rather her be gay.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I'm trying to turn her gay, right? Is kind of are the beats to that, right?
I am not even joking when I say I tried to raise my daughters to be lesbians.
I think my dad did raise a bunch of.
No, I'm saying like I was disappointed when they both now have boyfriends. I've told my wife. I've told this to them. I thought my youngest was the one because she only wanted anything to do with girls, and nope, now she has a boyfriend.
Dang.
I was
just give him time.
Yeah,
it might still work out.
Hey, Lauren is a one-woman conversion camp.
That is true.
Out of the question.
Lauren is freaking. Lauren's great.
Lauren is amazing.
Hey, but now she's got a track record.
Does
that
she?
Used to just.
I don't know what you're talking about. 45. That whiteboard rocks. Okay.
I only said that because I know she could cut it out, but that seemed like the funniest thing to say at the time.
That's what crowd work is. Crowd work is taking is taking chaos and wrangling it into something.
I will say
I love it so much.
Best crowd work moment that I think of, it happened at Third Base Bar because I said something about there was like a table of people that I referred to as swingers, and the shot of the night was like the upside down pineapple shot or something.
Yeah.
And so I look back and I'm like, I think Third Base, which is where you run, is it a monthly show?
Yeah.
Where you run your monthly show is great. I think the people there are great, and it's a great place to practice.
Oh man, it's so much fun, and it's a good group of mostly regulars that come in with some extras, but more importantly, it's low ceilings. It's a small building, and the owner loves comedy.
Yeah,
I've always had a great time there too. Every show I've done there has been fun.
Yeah, even when it's not the best, it's still okay.
It's good.
Yeah, even if it's not full, the people that are there.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, we've had some like not great shows and like some people that are not ever allowed to come back there because of stuff like that. But I mean,
I remember I was there.
Comics or audience members
with Steven Taylor, and there was a guy that was like drunk or something, and you were like, "Hey, he does one thing, he's out of here." And then he immediately backs up into me and backs me against the wall, and then Steven was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And then he was out.
Yeah, he left, but Heath, the owner of the bar, was like on his way to like, hey, you need to go.
It was wild.
I mean, we've done it for over 5 years now, so we know the problem people when they come. Like we've banned audience members just because. Like, what was it? Oh man, who was up there? I can't remember who it was. It was a female comedian, and this guy was quiet through. I think I had a male opener, female middle, and I don't remember who headlined. But he was quiet, and then it was Katie Porcello is who was up there. Okay. And second she touched the mic, he was like, just started yelling stuff, commenting on after everything. And I was like, okay. I told Heath, I was like, I'm gonna go kick him out. He goes, no, I'm gonna do it. And he just went over. He's like, get the fuck out of my bar. The guy tried fighting him in the parking lot.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
it's wild to fight people at a comedy show.
It is wild because you're like, that's not what I intended.
And Heath actually gets real anxious about like if the show isn't going, like if the crowd's too chatty. Yeah. And I have to tell him like, no. The comic needs to be able to handle that.
Sure.
It's not, you shouldn't have to go over and shush everybody, especially in a bar, a small bar. I'm like, it's on them to simmer them down.
Be entertaining.
Yeah.
Get them hooked.
It's a good place. Brent, you and No Way have a show now at Papio Pub.
Yeah.
What's going on there? When's the next show?
So we actually this Friday. This Friday we've got our first actual. So we're gonna have a monthly showcase there. Okay. It's the second Thursday of the month, and then a monthly show there the fourth Friday of the month. And so
cool.
We've got one this Friday. We got Tyrell featuring on it. Tyrell Frazier's featuring, and then Addie Herman, new to the scene, is headlining for the first time here in town.
Oh, so you're doing like a showcase. So you're gonna try to do like more local stuff on the showcase, and then.
Yeah, so the showcase is going to be, so we brained our thing, Brain Fog Comedy, and so the showcase is called the Hazy Showcase, and so the whole point of that one is to be able to bring anybody in. New comics can come in and cut their teeth. Veteran comics can come in and just work new material if they want, if they're getting ready for something to film. We wanted just kind of a space for it to be a little bit more like, hey, this is going to be a little hazy. Like, and the audience, when we kind of explained it that way the first night, and the audience was into it, and it went really well. And then, the show is going to be more of a, buttoned up host, opener, feature, headliner type thing. And
that's awesome. I'm glad. I like. I haven't been down to Papio Pub, but I love Papillion.
It's a fun little room.
Yeah, it is. It is, and we rearranged it now to where we're instead of like it's kind of like a squarish rectangle room, and the stage used to be on the wall, and now we've put it in the corner with those speakers there, so it like the sound filters out a little better, and we got a backdrop for it. And,
sick.
Yeah,
that stuff matters.
An actual spotlight.
We bought we bought one, and it worked for the first one. We're getting a new spotlight for the next one, but yeah, we'll have a spotlight for this one too.
Spotlight is so important.
Yeah, just to have it like well lit, and so you can actually turn the lights down.
We have a spotlight in third base for only the reason of to have a spotlight.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't really do anything, but it shuts people up.
I need to get one for backswing. That's the problem. Like backswing, I don't know if you've done the one in Lincoln, but
never been asked.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird.
The one in Lincoln though, it's like all
I've done the one in Omaha either. To be fair, it's 4 blocks from my house, but that's fine.
The one, but you don't want to do the one in Omaha.
I've been to the one in Omaha.
The one in Omaha is extremely rough, and then the one in Lincoln is like I get so much anxiety about that like the shows that go on there because I want them to sell, I want them to do good, so I'm always like I do them very sparingly. I've like this is the
sounds like crowd work would do really well there. I will say that's one of the compliments Tyler gave me was because I've done multiple small town shows and bar shows with Tyler, and we were driving back one day and he goes, "It's kind of annoying that everyone can go up and eat shit and you'll just eke out a good performance by doing crowd work and just resonating with the crowd."
Yeah.
And I'm like, yep. Like we did one. I don't think Tyler was there. No, it was Bill Queen was there, and it was Ethan put the show on, and the crowd was really rowdy, and I had some lady kept talking, and I was just teeing off with her, and then she ended up coming up and telling a story, and the story summed up was she pulled her husband's pants down on a boat, and his penis was shriveled up and looked like a turtle. And she had turtle earrings on, turtle tattoos. And I'm like, holy, everybody, I'm not doing the story justice, but everyone's dying laughing. Yeah. And now I'm known for that story, and I didn't even tell it. I just let this lady tell. And if it was horrible, I would have made fun of her. And
I love moments. I think that's like the perk of having access to small towns and doing comedy there because weird shit.
Here, tell people you don't have to do improv. You can just do crowd work.
Yeah. How long have you been doing comedy, Don?
A little over 10 years now.
When did you start doing crowd work?
I started doing it at I think I was at 5 years or so because I had someone at a mic interrupt me, and I didn't know how to handle it, and I didn't like the feeling. So then I was like, okay, I'm going to try talking to the crowd, and I did it for 6 months. I did no prepared material, just went up like, let's talk before it started clicking on how to ask the right, don't ask a too open-ended question. You want a yes or a no answer, not like, what's your opinion on this? Because then but yeah, it took that long, and now it's the thing I'm known for because I don't like writing material. I'd rather just
be in the moment.
Just wing it.
Yeah, to me it's so much more fun to just be in the moment. You're learning something about something. You never know what someone's going to say. They can say some crazy stuff, and it just goes crazy, and I love it.
I think I'm glad you said that, because I think if that was one thing that if I could impart wisdom to newer comics, it would be don't do any crowd work.
No, do it.
No.
Right.
No. And here's my argument. Yeah, but here's my argument. You can't do crowd work until you have jokes.
Oh, even then.
Because you're not Matt Rife. You're not.
Yeah, but did you see?
You're not Don Seager.
Did you see what happened when Matt Rife tried to write jokes? They were horrible.
Yeah, maybe if he'd have spent his time writing jokes, he'd have them. Well, that's my whole point. Is these guys that come out and they're like, I can't even put you on a fucking show because you don't have 10 minutes.
Yeah.
How about get 10 minutes and then maybe think about, can I do crowd work? That's what annoys me is do
you know Russell Peters?
Yeah.
Very famous comic, Joslyne.
Sure.
You don't know him, do you?
No.
Yeah.
Super famous. He's one of the top paid comics in the
world.
In the world, yeah. Because he does.
I think he might be number one.
No, I don't think in the world, but he does a lot of tours in India and England, all that. Yeah. But he came to Omaha and nobody came to his show. Ended up going out to the Copacabana, drinking and having cigars with him. And he didn't know me. I just was getting my cigar and stuff, and he came up and found out that I was affiliated with the Funny Bone, like that I go there and all that, and then bought my drink, which was very expensive.
Yeah.
And then I sat on a couch across from his feature, and then he like came over and sat next to me, and we talked mostly about crowd work the whole time. And what he said is, and now I love when it happens on like doing like Power Hour or whatever, because I'm just jacking around for 5 minutes or 3 minutes or whatever, just messing around with crowd work. And he's like, people hate crowd work. Comics hate it because you're showing that you messing around for a few minutes with the crowd is better than all of their written material that they just came up, like that they're coming up with. And I was like, oh, once I realized that, I'm like, now I understand why people are,
Yeah, but that's not the case for new comics, though. The problem is the people that do crowd work and it doesn't go well. It's not consistent.
Yeah.
And then they don't have any time. And then they complain about not being on shows. It's like, well, you don't have any jokes.
I mean, they just gonna have to get over it. I wasn't getting on shows for that 6 months. I was trying to figure it out.
That's why I'm saying my advice to new comics is develop jokes.
Sorry, I just was like chewing ice, and I was like, I feel like I'm chewing right into the mic.
I've been trying so hard not to chew this ice.
I want to chew it so bad. The ice here is so good.
Should we just? No, you don't have any ice.
I finished it.
Mine's gone.
I was gonna have us all chew ice into the mics, but I'm not gonna do it now.
Well, that's a good debate. I don't know how I feel like I don't know. I don't ask for things to happen, but if it does, I try to play with it. I think there's a balance. I think, like, I don't know, for me, I see the value in both. Like, I love when I see crowd work done really well, but I also, even at the end of the day, I love a good written joke.
Well, even the best crowd work comics, like Ian Bagg, like, he still has, this is my closing set.
Rock on.
Like, hey, here's my closing set. Like, so it's not, he'll do crowd work for 45 minutes and then, like, here's my closing 10.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And it's the best when you're doing crowd work and you can nudge the conversation into, okay, here's one of my good jokes that I can nudge it right into. And it's just like a crescendo.
True. Well, and I think it probably depends a lot on your goals, I guess. Because, like, if your goal is to be a comic, you've got to have jokes to write. Otherwise, you're not gonna go to clubs or anything like that. So, I don't know.
Everyone's right.
That is not the case.
No, but we are rounding down towards the end of the episode. So if you guys want to plug what's going on, we kind of talked about the shows and stuff, but I'll give you guys a second to plug what you got going on and let people show up.
Ladies first.
Man. If I'm talking about stuff I'm really excited about, it's not even in the area, but I'm doing a golf roast, a heckle tournament.
That sounds
in
fun.
April in Jefferson.
Awesome.
Yeah, me and Noe and Lavetti are going, and we get to we're going to stand on a tee box and heckle them.
That's fun.
Oh, like the TikTok thing.
Yeah. And then there's a showcase at the end of the night. So there's a show at the end of the night. We're gonna get food and everything. So it's gonna be
That's
fun.
Sick as hell.
But to just have permission, like literally, they're like, you can say whatever you want. Just get up there and roast these guys and see if they can.
I want to do that.
Hit a golf ball.
But
that
with like
fun.
a bowling tournament.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
I know. I'm honestly, I gotta hit up Tyler Walsh about it because it's like I feel like that would be really fun,
also, that seems like a bowling alley activity.
Oh, yeah. And they have the mic. Like, when we went New Year's Eve to the bowling alley, and they're calling out stuff over the mic while we were there. And so I'm like, they have the system. We should do it.
You should get Cameron to do that.
Oh, Cameron would be so good at it.
Yeah, he's way good at roasting and doesn't roast. So
there we go. Don, what do you got coming up?
I'm monthly at Third Base. It's the last Wednesday of the month, so
Beautiful.
It's pretty easy to remember. And then starting June, it'll be the second Thursday in June. The Ditmars Orchard will open back up.
I think I'm on that.
Yes, you are.
Hello.
Yes, that'll be the start of our third year out there. So it's
sick,
nice.
And that's a good spot. That place fills up like crazy.
Yeah, that place was sick when I was out there.
Yeah, we sold. What is it? We only do it 6 months of the year, and last year we sold the last 4 months completely out. Like
that's
had
awesome.
No room. Yeah.
That was great. I'm excited for those shows coming up. Thank you guys for coming on today. This was fun. A lot of good conversation. Yeah. And yeah, I'm excited. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you, Grace.